Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for you if you're an entrepreneur. Yes, entrepreneur, page, stage, entrepreneur, they all go together. Because you may have a solo book out, you may have a chapter in a contributory book, you may have a blog, but if you're an entrepreneur, I can guarantee you're on socials, aren't you? And what's that if it's not published work? Did you know you were an author? Go for it. Okay, that's the page bit. What about the stage? Now, a lot of the people I talk to who are entrepreneurs go, public speaking, I can't do that. Depends on what you define as public speaking. It doesn't have to be that raised platform with a microphone in your hand. If you can have a one-on-one conversation with somebody, you can do a podcast, just like we're doing now. Just saying. That's a stage. Come on, let's get you on stage. So you're in the right place. Welcome. Now today, I have a very special person I'd like to introduce you to. The lovely Veronica de Almeida. Have I said that right?
That's right. That's right.
Spanish.
Yes.
Now, Veronica has a very interesting tale to tell. I could tell you a bit about her, but you know what? She knows herself much better than I do. So I'm going to bat this one over to you, Veronica. Tell us more about who you are and how you've got to being where you are today.
I will. But first, I want to thank you for having me as a guest. I really appreciate it. Let me tell you something about me that it's in the book. I was born and raised in El Salvador in Central America. When I was 18, I moved away to go to college. I never thought that while I was away, a civil war will happen in my country. And that prevented me from going back. The war lasted for more than a decade.
Yeah.
So I had to resolve to stay where I was and just build my life a different way than what I had planned. And something also in the book that you will know about me is that I love the Christmas time of the year. And I believe that it isn't just for Christians. The Christmas season brings people together where you gather with friends, with family, you share. You think of people that you probably don't think all year long. And that is one time that you want to write a note on a Christmas card. All that. I love that about Christmas. So that is in the book. I also was a teacher for many years. I taught Spanish, and I loved all my students. And I learned to expand my heart, to love people and care about them, and to share things that I knew would help them in their lives in the future. So I love sharing ideas, and I love sharing things I learned. And the book is about lessons that I've learned that took me years to discover. So that's why I'm sharing that with people too. I was, from El Salvador, I was appointed Honorary Consul of El Salvador in the state of Utah where I lived. And I did that for 12 years before I had to move away to the Dominican Republic. And in that setting, I was able to help 3 young men, American men, that were jailed in El Salvador, get out of jail. So whenever I told people that story, people would say to me, write a book about that. That could be such a good book. That could be a movie, even if it goes into the right hands. And that event happened in 2005. And of course, the years went by and I never got it to really write it. In 2016, I was approached by some authors to write a chapter in a book. And this is the book that came out in 2017. And the book is about how you have unity in diversity. And they needed someone who was an immigrant, like me, first generation immigrant. And so they asked me to write that chapter, and I did. And when the newspaper picked up a story about that book, they picked my chapter. they wrote about my chapter. And so I then knew that something I could write had value. And it gave me confidence that, yeah, I should probably write that book. But guess what? Years went by. Years went by.
Life got in the way.
Life got in the way. And I just never did it until I got a text telling me that my cousin, one of my favorite cousins, had passed away suddenly.
Oh.
And as I went to his funeral, I was in Miami thinking, I wonder how many things he left undone. I wonder how many things he didn't do that he wanted to do. He was not even 50. He was in his late 40s when he passed away. So that is what got me thinking, I'm not sure if I'm going to be around in a year. Nobody knows. A car accident, an illness. So that's when I started seriously thinking about writing a story. And I had to have a plan. I had to like sit down and carve time out of my day to do it. I had to do research because I had not thought about that in years. And I had to go back and look at newspaper clippings, ask my sister who was helping me with that case, my mom was still alive and remembers. So that's how I started writing. And when I got the manuscript, which when you write a story, you end up with something looking like this. And I sent that to the editors. And then I decided to do a Kickstarter campaign telling people a book is coming out. Now, when you say that, you mean it.
Yeah, you got to follow through, really, haven't you?
You got to follow through, right? So that kind of pressured me.
Yeah.
That I had that Kickstarter campaign. People were buying, pre-ordering the book, and the book wasn't out yet. So that is how it happened. And then I had to have a party to launch my book. I invited all my friends, my family, all came. I was book signing. There's this feeling that you get when you are actually signing your name because people want an autograph, your autograph in the book. So anyway, that's how it happened.
Cast your mind back for a minute. I'm going to interject. When your books first arrived, did you have a consignment sent to your house?
I had the company that I used to publish this sent me that one box, and when I opened it, the feeling was just unbelievable. The feeling that was done.
Yes, and you're holding your own work,
and I'm holding my work, and people can say she's an author.
Yes,
me, I am an author. Yeah, I am.
There's nothing like it, is there?
There's nothing like it. No, and it's something that will stay forever.
Yeah,
it will stay forever. So anyway, that's why I feel it's important that people really, if they really want to write a book, they need to find ways to do it. If there is a will, there is a way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was interviewing somebody, and their podcast went out yesterday. So as we're recording this, so this will be last week as you're watching this, folks. She said that what prompted her to really get the book written was not the elation of being an author, because she's put her name to a couple of contributory chapters already, but this was her first solo book. It was but I've got to get this done for me. And it was almost that compulsion rather than the elation, but it was the kick up the backside that she needed. So it's interesting how different people have different motivations to get it done.
Yes.
Okay, so the book came out when?
It came out September 14th.
September 14th
of this year. And
this year, right.
Of this year, because in the book I explain that I start preparing for Christmas in September. Because I learned that from the people in the Philippines. They start telling you Merry Christmas on September 1st. And I thought, why not? You know that Christmas is coming. It doesn't take you by surprise. And sometimes we're not even prepared. And you are there trying to buy things last minute. And you're like, it's stressful. And it's a stressful time. But I wanted it to be peaceful time for me. A peaceful time for me. So the way to do it is to prepare before.
Yes.
By December 10th, I'm ready. and I can enjoy, going to the mall, and I just see people walking and just doing anything that you do that is so fun, but I'm not stressed out.
Yeah, you're not running around like a headless chook, as they say in
Exactly.
Australia.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I do it. And so in September it came out. I felt that I needed to come around the middle of September. And I have book clubs have asked me to come and talk about it. So I have been doing that ever since the book came out.
Right. So the title, remind us of the title again.
It's How a Jail Cell Saved Christmas.
How a Jail Cell Saved Christmas. So give us a little taster of it. Don't give too much away, because obviously we want people to go and buy the book. But give us a taster of what it's about.
Okay, what it's about is that I started writing just a story of how I got involved taking 3 young men that were in jail in El Salvador. And I got a call from one of the young men's mom, and she really was trying to see a way that I could help. I was the honorary consul of El Salvador.
That's right, because you were the honorary consul in Utah for El Salvador. And this family lived in Utah?
They lived in Chicago.
Oh, right. Okay.
But they somehow saw my name somewhere. They Googled my name. I don't know. I don't even know how. They knew someone that knew me. And that person told them, hey, she has connections that maybe can help. And I'm also known. And the person who wrote the foreword tells how I love to help people. It's just in me. So I got involved in trying to find out more about the case. And that's what I did. But the thing is that as I was writing the story, I felt that I needed to write my story too, that went with that one. I was going at the time through a very painful divorce. Okay. And so the fact that I got involved in something else helped my mind not go crazy. So that's kind of like, it was a healing thing for me to not be dwelling on me, why me, and help someone else. Yeah. So in a nutshell, that's what I did.
There's 2 stories in parallel in the book?
Yes. It starts with the tale of 2 stories. And then as I thought about what happened, there's another part in the book that tells lessons I've learned. So that is almost like a self-help at the end. Because
that's the thing, isn't it? When you tell a story, if you tell it well, audience, listen up. I'm sure you know this anyway, but if you tell it really well, then you're inviting your reader, and as you're speaking about it, your listener, to put themselves in that position. How would they be if they were the hero in that tale? How would they react? And that's the art of a good story, because otherwise you've got the audience going, great, what's in it for me? Nice tale, so what? Yeah.
The book is a short book, like you can tell. It's one book that you can start and you can end it within 2.5 hours. So you don't have to put it away and come back the next day. No, it's just one sitting. And that's what I like about the book too, that it's not a book that takes forever to finish reading it. Yeah.
And I bet it's gripping too. It's a book that you don't want to put down.
I hope so. Yeah, people have said that about it. Yeah, that they just start and they cannot put it down. Yeah, that's true.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Again, the conversation that we had before we hit record was about the ideal time in terms of picking it up at an airport, reading it on a domestic flight across a large country like the US, Canada, Australia, and then being done by the time you get there.
Correct. That is, it's perfect for something like that. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's not heavy. It's not heavy. You can put it in your purse. Those 20 kilos,
I could have it in my drink. I'm getting the Kindle version, definitely getting the Kindle version.
Yes, for sure.
Yes, no, that's wonderful, wonderful. So the Christmas element obviously is important to be talking about at this time of year, because hello, we're coming towards Christmas. And yes, I confess that my Christmas present list hasn't even been started yet. 20 kilos. What can I give people? Yeah. But my point is, though, that I'm assuming you're getting out to a lot of podcasts at the moment and talking about your Christmas book.
Yes, correct.
Excellent.
I've done radio shows, podcasts, and this is one of the podcasts. Of course, this is why I'm doing this now, because this
Yes.
is a gift. Somebody can really use this as a gift for someone. And I see
You
people
can buy
buy
2
one, two.
copies, one for you
Yes,
and one to give to somebody else.
yes, they're buying 2 copies and 3 copies at a time,
Yeah.
which I love. Of course, I love that.
Of course. Yeah.
For them. Yeah.
It means you're sharing the love. You're sharing the love.
I'm sharing the love. I am.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, I want to take you
Definitely.
back in time for a minute, Veronica. What prompted you to start writing in the first place?
When I took a class back in my college years, I took a creative writing class, and then I discovered that you can be creative. We had to write poems, all kinds of things. And that's when I decided I really love writing. And in that class, you had to write something every day about your day, all through the semester. And at the end, she said, keep doing it. Keep writing something about that day. What did you learn? What did you say that you probably shouldn't have said? What did you not say that you probably should have said? You know, what things are you learning? What miracles did you see that day? Anyway, so I have been doing that, and it's been since 1979.
So that nowadays we call that journaling, wouldn't we?
It's a journal, yeah, that I kept. And guess what I'm going to write about today? About you, about this
podcast. Yay!
It will be there in my notes. Yes.
Love it.
And
Love it.
someone said to me, because I have so many journals, they said, you know, nobody will read that because it's too much. And it's in Spanish, and none of your grandchildren read Spanish or understand it. So write a memoir, write one book, just one memoir that they will keep. So I have been doing that. And I'm continuing to write that one book, that one memoir for my family.
But isn't it interesting, though? What do you choose to put in? What do you choose to leave out? Because the longer we're on this earth, we've got so many experiences that we could share. Yeah. I was reflecting with my father. He was 95 when he passed. And he was lamenting the good old days and things. And I was saying, Dad, think about the speed of change within your lifetime. He was born in 1926. Now, 1926 in the UK was when we had a general strike. I said, but think about it. So you were born in the year of the general strike. You've lived through the Second World War. You served. You've seen a man on the moon. When you were a child and you looked up at the moon, did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that somebody could be walking up there one day? And he looked at me and went, no, I didn't. I said, and that was, what, 50 years ago now? How much change have we seen? So for me, I've spoken to younger people, I've spoken to older people, and encouraged older people to write down, particularly around their childhood, because of the contrast.
Yeah.
Because the children that today can't imagine life without a phone, without connectivity, never had the option of being bored. What do you do when there's nothing to do? Yeah. What do you hold on to? What do you include and what do you leave out? So I'm curious, how are you deciding what you're putting in and what you're leaving out?
The way that I do it is that if something had meaning for me, that I remember it really well, like that story, like this story is in my memoir. And one thing that helped me when I was writing it is that I went back to what I had written about it, and that's helped me refresh my memory. So it's true. Anything that impacted me in any way, that's what I'm writing, meaningful things. Because
Yes.
in my journals, I sometimes write about what I had for breakfast. You know, who cares? But
Well,
meaningful
you cared
things.
that morning.
Oh, and something that I've done too that I have to share is that when a grandchild graduates from high school, I write them a book about what I think they need to know from me, and it's called Made Exclusively for You, and lessons, the ABC of Vero's life lessons. So I go through the ABC, and let's say for G, I would have like gratitude. The L is love for learning. The K would be kindness. I mean, I just go through the ABC of things that they don't probably are not taught in school. And I give that as a gift with whatever else I'm going to give them, money or whatever. So I do that. And I've done 3 books because 3 of my grandchildren have graduated from high school.
Oh, how precious. How
So
precious.
that's what I do.
And that's come from my grandma, and she's a writer. Yay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. So that's what prompted you to start writing. So back in school days. Yeah.
In school days.
Do you still write poetry?
I have not picked up poetry as much as my grandmother is the one that wrote poetry. And so I love the fact that she did that, and I should really do that more. But I'm writing mostly stories.
Sure.
I'm kind of like a storyteller more than a poem writer, than writing poems. Because of the rhyming and things like that, sometimes I force it too much, because you need to rhyme that word.
Also, I mean, some poems don't need to be
That's
rhyming.
right. Some
You can
don't
have
need to be
the
rhymed.
open
You can
rhymes or
have
the
the open rhyme.
open
Yeah,
words. Yeah.
that's right. You can do it a different way too.
Because it's amazing when I've asked people this question, sort of what prompted you to start writing. Some people have gone back into their childhood, like you with your writing class. But some people have said, "Oh, I started writing poems when I was 6." I go,
Oh,
you still got them somewhere?
oh,
Well, how about resurrecting them and adding a few
that's right.
more now and seeing your
That's
journey?
right.
So it's, and I've also spoken to a couple of people who have used poetry as a way of managing mental ill health.
Yes.
So that's been a wonderful way. So
I
audience,
I
go for it.
I believe that completely because one of my daughters she's a music therapist, and she's a writer. She writes songs, and when she's doing therapy, she lets people write something that will be a song.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, and she teaches the guitar and how that can go with that song, and yeah, she has always done that, and I really admire that she can do that. Yeah.
And that's such a particularly personal gift as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, writing is really therapeutic, definitely. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. So that's when you started on your writing journey. Tell us a bit more about your speaking. Now, obviously, you've done, I would imagine, as the honorary consul, you had a few presentations to do. Tell us about what speaking you've had.
Even now, when because now I am emeritus. I am an honorary consul emeritus, so they invite me to events and things, and I just spoke at an event in September for the independence of Central America and Mexico. People don't know this, but Mexico and Central America, they all got their independence practically the same day and year. And Central America was one country at some point. They all got divided up into little bitty countries, but it was one country at one time. And so I was invited an event, and so I'm always speaking about whatever. And so I always have like a theme, and I always like to engage people when I'm talking. And so I told them about phrases that we use in Spanish. And I told them about how to start a phrase, and I asked them how you end it, and they ended it. Like, for example, saying the apple doesn't fall far away from and they would say tree. So I did that in Spanish. I did several of those. Yeah. Beautiful. Anyway, so I like to engage people when I am talking.
Yes. So it does, I mean, doesn't matter how many people there are in the crowd, in the audience.
Right.
It's that engagement that you can bring in, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love to connect with someone. I see someone and I'm connecting, and someone else and someone else. And if I want to bring the crowd, then I ask them to say something back at me, or a thought, or say yes, or,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like them to think about what the things I'm talking about, I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, you're not
memoirs
talking
that
at
might
them,
have
are you? You're talking with them.
with
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
like having a conversation in your living room, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Having a podcast.
That's my style.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And that I find, because you can read how the audience is going to respond, because if
Exactly.
we had this conversation before, if they're leaning in, ooh, tell me more, and you give them more. If they're okay, no,
and
that
then,
hasn't landed, switch to something else.
You have to switch to something else. Correct. Yeah, you see that body language when you're talking to them. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And you're obviously very familiar and very happy speaking in either Spanish or in English.
I do it in both.
Yeah.
Mostly, if I am going to be with people that only speak Spanish, I do it in Spanish. But because I'm in the US, everything is done in English here. Yeah.
But what a skill to be able to that fluently present in both languages. So
it's easy to go back and forth because I'm used to doing it since I was 11.
Yes.
When I had to learn about Shakespeare and what they're teaching you in school.
And that's not exactly modern day English either.
No. So you're always exposed to it, is what I'm saying.
Yes, yeah. But the fact, I mean, that when I'm working with a number of people over the years who English is not their first language, and you can always tell when they're thinking in their native tongue and translating as they speak.
Yes.
And I've got one gentleman that I work with who Mauritian Creole is his first language, followed by French, followed by English.
Yeah.
And I just go, you're thinking in French, aren't you? How can you tell? Well,
you can.
So, and again with the Chinese folks, and it's the little bits of English, like plural S's, when there's more than one. French thinking they don't sound a plural, and it doesn't feature in the English. And okay, no, we're missing something here. And with the Chinese, the and the articles, they don't exist.
Yes.
They don't carry any weight per se in English, but boy, do you notice them if they're not there. Yeah.
Yes, and in Spanish, for example, every word has gender. It's either female or male.
Yes.
So you say el or la.
Yes.
You probably noticed that since you're in Mexico.
I'm discovering that.
Yeah.
I have some very, very patient people that I'm talking to. Try it this way.
Yeah. Like, for example, the word for butterfly, mariposa. You don't say el mariposa, you say la mariposa because it's female. Anyway, just an example.
Yeah. Because that's not something that we consider in English.
No, not at all.
The gender thing is not an issue unless you're obviously male or female.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
Love language. We could talk about that all day. We've spoken about your writing journey. We've spoken about your speaking journey. We've done the page and the stage, and this beautiful book that you have out. While we were having the conversation off air, you mentioned to me that this happened in 2015.
This happened 2005. 2005.
2005. That's
2005.
Right. So next year is actually going to be the 20th anniversary.
Correct.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, it has been a long time in coming, hasn't it?
It has been a long time.
Yeah.
That is why it hit me thinking, why has it taken so long to write about this?
But it's the perfect timing.
But it is the perfect timing. Yeah, it is.
It will be the perfect timing. Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful. Yes. Beautiful. So that's what you got at the moment. And you've mentioned that you've got a memoir in the process. Are you
what I have is that from that memoir, and this is a secret that only you would know, from that memoir, I am taking stories to make them into books. So there is one story that I shared in here, and it's like a little teaser of my next book. So I will be writing books that I already have on the memoirs, but I will take them out of that and make them into books.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
And I have about 3 or 4 in my mind, but I have to, focus on just the one that I'm.
Sure, sure. Let's get this one well and truly bedded in.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you have some dates ready for next year, let me know. Audience, if you haven't come across this podcast before, just to let you know, the show notes are dynamic. What that means is that when Veronica tells me I have another book coming out, I will do another splash on socials, change up the links, because we'll add the links to this recording, and we'll invite her back to talk about the new book. So this is why the show notes are dynamic, because if there's anything else in there that you want us to know about, even before your new book comes out, your next book comes out, let us know, Veronica, and I'll do a quick social splash and update the notes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Beautiful.
For sure.
Beautiful. Okay, so we know where you've come from with your page, we know where you've come from with your stage, this beautiful book in the go at the moment, and Christmas is coming, just saying, folks. We've got potentials for next year. I'm going to ask you, how do you embody your words when you take them from page to stage?
One thing that I do is that I simply, everywhere I go, I carry my book with me, and I ask people, have you heard about this book? And of course they say, no, and then I tell them about it. So I'm like a walking book.
Walking advert, walking promotion.
Absolutely. Walking promotion. That's what I've been doing. And I will continue to do that.
Yes.
Because the thing is that this is a Christmas book and will come out every Christmas. Every Christmas. Anyway, so it's a forever thing, but I'm going to be doing that. Yeah.
I mean, I remember going to the dentist, and they were saying, oh, what, because they only see me every few months, obviously. Oh, what's been happening in your world? Oh no, that's right. I was making an appointment, and I said, yeah, that will be the day after my next book launches. Oh, you're an author. Yes. Have you got any books with you? Funny you should mention that. Go trotting out to the car, bring one back, sign it, sell it there and then. So, audience, if you're an author, always have books with you in the car or wherever you are, so that when the opportunity arises, a signed copy, because let's face it, a signed copy is really very precious, isn't it?
It is. It's very special. Yes.
Yeah.
And one thing also that I know is that people are looking for good material.
Yes.
Good books. And so if you tell them about yours and they want to know more, you are there. You are there. You can tell them, and then they can share it with other people, and that's how the ball gets rolling. That's how it happens. So yeah, always carry books with you if you're an author. Definitely, yeah.
I carry a copy of my 2 books with me, my physical books, so that I can show people and then point them in the direction of the link.
Yes, and one thing with my book is that if they don't remember my name or the name of the book, there's Google, and there's only 3 words they need to put in Google. The words are jail, cell, and Christmas. If you put those 3 words, it comes up. Isn't Google amazing?
It's not a combination of words that is generally put together, is it?
You don't put those together, but then you remember Christmas. Jail,
exactly. Because you're not going to think of a jail cell and Christmas in the same breath.
No.
Unless you've heard of your book.
Of the book. So because the book is so unique, it comes up. It's the first things that comes up when you Google jail cell and Christmas.
Nice thinking,
And
Mrs.
I
Your
tell people
marketing is
about that.
bang on. Yeah. As we're winding up then, Veronica,
Yeah.
have I missed anything? Is there anything else you'd like to share about the
Well,
book?
maybe the only thing that I might want to share is that if people are in the Salt Lake area, there will be, and I have to find it where I had it, there will be a
Oh, you've got a
massive
book signing coming up, haven't you?
There's a book signing coming up, and it's going to be 2 days before Christmas, because that's when they are doing it. There's going to be 25 authors signing books at this event. And one of the authors, of course, and the one putting it together is Richard Paul Evans, that people know, that wrote the Christmas box. Alan Osmond from the Osmond Brothers will be there signing books, and myself.
Now, do you have a link? Is it something that people can go and book for, or is there some way of, is there a promotional thing that people can go and check a link?
I think there is a way to get to Richard Paul Evans. He has his webpage, and he's the one that is doing the event and inviting authors to his event.
Well, I tell you what,
so could
you give us the link that we can put in the show notes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I could give you that.
So because that it will be, obviously this episode is going up next week, so it will be out in plenty of time for people to go and see you and go and get your signed copy.
Absolutely. It's okay, richardpaulevans.com, but I will send the link. Yes.
I'm wondering, is it, for people in Salt Lake City who are intending to go, is it better to go and buy the book first and bring it to you and get it signed so they know they've got their copy?
That could be something that I could do, but also the authors, they all will have books.
Yes, no, I appreciate that, but I'm just thinking that.
But if they want to bring their own book just to make sure they have a copy, of course, they can get it. All books are on Amazon.
Right, yes, of course.
Good thing. And
so again, audience, we will make sure that the Amazon link is here in the show notes. We will make sure the link to the Salt Lake City signing is here. And the ways of getting hold of Veronica as well. So you can catch her on LinkedIn, you can catch her on Facebook, all those wonderful ways you can connect with her.
Correct.
There will also be
Instagram, Facebook, my webpage with my name. It has my name, Veronica de Almeida.com. And you can
all be there in the show notes.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
excellent.
That's wonderful.
Okay, then, as we're winding up, then, are there any final words of wisdom you'd love to share with us?
Yes, in the book, I have a quote. This quote came from President Russell M. Nelson. He is the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which are called Mormons. And this is what he said that I want to share. It says, life is filled with detours and dead ends, trials and challenges of every kind. Each of us has likely had times when distress, anguish, and despair almost consumed us. Yet we are here to have joy. Yes, the answer is resounding yes. The joy we feel has little to do with the circumstances of our lives and everything to do with the focus of our lives. So that is, in a nutshell, what the book's about.
Beautiful, beautiful. It encapsulates it just perfectly. Yeah, lovely. Thank you so much, Veronica, for coming on and sharing your From Page to Stage.
Thank you.
For now, bye from us.
Bye-bye.